Good morning, friends, and anyone watching the replay of this. I haven't done a surprise live in a long time, and I don't have anywhere I have to be right away this morning. So I was like, let's do it. Let's do it. Yes, I do have ambience on in the background right there. It's great. I'm also going to give away some memberships when I get more people in here because I haven't done that in forever. Able to give away some of those every month and I forget too. But hi, good morning. Hi, Cassidy. Hi, Michelle. Thanks for coming to chat with me. Hi, Lauren. Hello. Also, don't mind. My nose decided that it's all leaky today. Oh, so great. Hi, Candace. Good morning, Mel. Hello. Hello. Oh, had a snowy day yesterday. It finally happened. I was sad about that. I'm working on my cross stitch a little bit while we chat, so don't mind me. My hand finally healed up a little bit so that I can do it again. Hi, Valeria. Ooh, hello. I like that. Valera. There we go. Valera. Good morning. Hello. Or good afternoon. I'm sure a lot of you are in different places. It's snowing here. Oh, well, this actually isn't too early for where I live. We actually got away with it we almost made it to Thanksgiving, but last year we hardly had any snow, so it is weird to have it so early. Last year we didn't even have snow for Christmas, which has never happened in my lifetime, and I'm 31, so there's that. But tell me what you guys are reading, what you're up to. I'm sure a lot of you at work, but it's actually also not early. You're in Alberta. Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, it always feels too early until it starts, but I feel like November 20th wasn't too bad of a time for it to happen, but anyway. Yeah, so I don't have too much going on today. I mean, I have a lot that I should do, but nothing that's overly urgent. So I'm just kind of relaxing today. I am reading currently. Let's see. I'm reading Bull Rush here, which is here's the thing though, too. This is billed as a dark cowboy romance. And we haven't done too much of the cowboying. I think the definition of cowboy romance is really getting a little loose. It's getting a little loose right now. He's done a little bit of fence fixing, and that's about it. All that's happened here. But yeah, this one is kind of interesting. It's mostly about the smut. And sometimes I'm in the mood for that, and other times I'm like, because this is the one, Bull Rush is where they thought they were divorced, but when she goes to get the marriage certificate for her to marry someone else, she's engaged to someone else, she's going to get a loan. That's what happens. She needs to get a loan to work on her business. And she's still married to her husband who has been in prison. So they're like, well, this is going to affect your loan. And she's like, I'm not married to anyone who's in prison. And they're like, yes, you are. So apparently their paperwork never got filed. So he's actually just got out of prison and he's on parole. And the parole expects him to be staying with his wife. And he's like, I don't have a wife. And they're like, yes, you do. Hi, Crystal. Hey, big sis. Hello. So anyway, he is an ex-football player. So he has a lot of money still. And so he basically bribes her that if you let me stay here for the first few months of my parole so that I look good for them, I'll give you the money that you need for your business. But you have to stay married to me during that time so that it looks good for my parole, right? And then it becomes very clear that the man that she's now engaged to is a weasel because he's all like, "Oh, sure, you could stay married to him for this time if it's gonna get us money. That's fine. He can even sleep with you if he wants to. It's fine. And I'm gonna go sleep with people too." Like, I'm like, "Okay, show me you care so much about this girl right now." So that's what I mean is like it's a sexy story. Like, it's hot, but it's also like I don't feel too great really about any of the characters involved because they're all very willing to just do what they want, you know? And so I'm kind of like, eh. So yeah, I'm reading that, but I stayed up last night. Well, I stay up every night and I finished, let's see, I finished my read from the readathon, Love in the Time of the Zombie Apocalypse. And this was so good. Like, this was such a good romance. It was such a good, like, horror type thing. And yeah, definitely had me up in my feels last night. And from what I've seen, this fanfic writer is writing like a real book, as so many of the fanfic authors do. And I will absolutely read that because this was a very talented story. Absolutely. So but then I'm rereading Sanctuary by Claire Kent, and then I actually have an arc of the Horde Kings of Shadow, so I need to get started on that. And I have an ALC of From Air. That's what it's called, From Air, like air that you breathe, by Julianne. So that's what I should be reading. But anyway, okay, let's see. Candace is currently listening to Contradictions still and listening to Measure of a Man on Spotify because the fanfic readathon made me just want it. Yes, I mean, I know. As I just shared, I kept going as well. Michelle said I was trying to listen to an audiobook, but it was a huge trigger for me, the mention of cheating. Yeah. Okay. So no sleep because you were crying. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that it hit you like that. That's the worst. Any Rex on Audible Plus with no cheating. Well, I read so few books with I do not read books with that really at all. Audible Plus, man, what's on Audible Plus? I don't even know, girl. I actually don't know. Let me see. They change what's on there. I haven't listened to an Audible Plus in so long because I have so many other things I have to listen to. Let me see. Let me see what's in here. Yeah, all these books are taken off of it. Stop that. Are the Clickanian books still on there? Those ones are good. Let me see. They are. Okay. Choosing Theo is on Audible Plus. Don't know if you like alien romance, but that one is super good. That whole series, I think, is on there pretty much. Very good. Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head. I'm sorry. I know that I did a video not too long ago about how Audible Plus Rex. So, but I don't know. Amanda, you're reading The Blackbird Oracle. It's the 4th book in the Discovery Bushes. Oh, yeah. Oh, crazy. The 4th book. I thought that was. Now I need to look this up. I've read the first like 2.5 of those. I just don't talk about those anymore because I got pretty bored with that series, actually. I feel bad about it. Let me see here. Jeez. Oh, okay. It's book 5, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Because I was like, I had read books 1 and 2, and then halfway through 3, I got kind of bored. But I bought Times Convert. I didn't know that another one came out. The 5th, the Blackbird Oracle. Well, someday I'll go back to those, maybe, huh? Someday. That's what we say. Hi, Care. Good morning, my friend. Hello. Aliens you love. Okay, Michelle, do it. Hit it up. That series is great. I just made a video that'll come out on Saturday that is anticipated releases of the winter. And Victoria Aveline is supposed to have the next book in that series coming. But we'll see. We'll see. So anywho, that's what I'm up to today. Again, I'm working on my cross stitch. That's what I'm looking at, everyone, when I'm looking down. So yeah, I don't know which audiobook I'll start. Let me see what my options are. I'm saving Jade Legacy for next week. That is going to be my vacation book. So I'm going to start it on my drive and I'm going to read Jade Legacy. So I can't start that one yet, but it is tempting me. It is tempting me for sure. So let's see here. I have Marked by Eva Winters. I've been reading a lot of hers because her books are getting put on audio right now. I have Sins by Lexi James. Don't know anything about that one. Now, Marked, I believe, I am intrigued by of course I am, because this one is another mafia, of course. And this one has Russian mafia, and Shane East, I heard, is doing Russian, the Russian narration in this. So that's pretty tempting right now. But I have listened to a lot of mafia lately. So I also have a couple that I got in the, there was just a stuff your earbuds thing last week. And I did grab a few in there. Oh yeah, I also have some ALCs on my NetGalley shelf. I always forget about that app, right? Oh yeah, okay. So I have 3 audiobooks in my NetGalley. I have My Darling Jane by Ilse Mad Mills, which that one's overdue. Maybe I have to listen to that one. I don't know. Then, like I said, I have From Air by Julianne. And then I did get an ALC of Weston by Rhea Morris Edwards, which I have already read. But she had the ALCs available on NetGalley, and I was like, I'm going to snatch that. So maybe I'll flip a coin between From Air and My Darling Jane. I don't think My Darling Jane is very long. But the problem with My Darling Jane, here's the thing. I asked for that arc before I read book 1 in the series, which is a rookie mistake, okay? Rookie mistake. Because book 1 in the series, those characters just drove me bananas. They just drove me bananas. And so now my motivation to read the next one is very low. But what can you do? So, Vanshika. Sorry, I probably just ruined that. Vanshika. You're reading If I Break by Portia Moore. Ooh, I like it. I like it a lot. Oh, that's right. I was going to... Let me see if I'm able to do this. I don't know if it's going to let me do it. That's lame. It doesn't show me as logged into my own account. Oh, well, whatever. But anywho, what else? What else should we talk about for a little bit? You guys know, I never come with a plan or anything. I just came to chat for a little bit. Tell me what we're up to. I am getting my end of the year stuff planned out. So that means I get to reread a bunch of my favorite books. Very excited about that. Particularly Julia Wolf. I mean, I'm so excited. I really want to comfort reread Sweet Like Poison, but I don't think I have time to do that. But we should be getting, if we're on her arc team, we should be getting the arc of See It Through very soon. Bye, Candace. I know. I'm sorry I do these in the middle of the day. I'm the worst. Crystal, you are asking me, what book are you most excited for in 2025? I mean, could you make it more difficult for me? Could you? Okay, I actually have a list though, because I did just film a video with my anticipated reads for the first quarter. But let me see which ones are my favorite. What am I looking forward to? Okay, at least for the beginning of 2025, I am... Oh, it's so hard. I'm most excited for, probably Firebird. Like, if I want to be real here, probably Firebird, which, I could read at any time. I know that's a bit braggy, but do the first quarter. Yeah. Okay, well, Firebird's in April. The first quarter, I'm excited for Unloved. I'm excited for Onyx Storm. I don't care. I'm a simp, okay? That cliffhanger at the end of book 2 was so mean. I'm really looking forward to Onyx Storm. I am. I also, that's like, that series and Sarah J. Maas are probably the only ones that I like getting caught up in the whirlwind. Like, normally, you guys know I'm a bit of a snob. I'm a bit of a snob when it comes to what everyone else likes, because we all like to think we're original and cool and that we like things that nobody else does. But with Sarah J. Maas and with, hi, Melissa. With Sarah J. Maas and with Rebecca Yarros, I kind of just like getting caught up in it. Now, one of the things, this is a little bit of tea to me. Tell me what you guys think. Okay, let me tell you the other 2 books I'm excited for, and then I'll go on a rant about this. Okay, so yes, I'm excited for Onyx Storm. I'm excited for, let me see here. I wrote all these down. It's so hard to choose. Yeah, in January, it's probably Onyx Storm. Then The Charlie Method by Elle Kennedy. Yep, that one's in February. And then in March, honestly, Elsie hasn't let me down lately. So Wild Side looks good. And then Rena Kent is gracing us with a book in March as well. Literally, like, for my birthday. So there's one for every month in the beginning of 2025. There's that. Okay, now back to what I was kind of going to rant. So one thing, though, I want to know what people's thoughts are on this. When you're going to a book signing for a single author, do you think the cost should just be like the price of the, do you think it should just be the price of the book and then maybe like a convenience fee or something? Because I realize that the Rebecca Yarros tour is probably supposed to be more than just a signing. Like, I think it's supposed to be an event. But I went to get tickets for that, which, by the way, I was late by like an hour and they were all sold out immediately. And the tickets to get into the St. Paul event, I wanted to get them for me and my sister as a gift for Christmas. And they were like $125 per seat, per ticket. And it didn't even say that included like the price of a book in it. And I'm like, are you high? Like, I don't even want to pay that for a book signing with 50 authors. I don't want to pay $125, let alone for one person, where it's going to be an event where I'm so far back that I might as well watch it on YouTube and I'd get a better view at her. Like, are you crack? I don't know. But I was a bit upset. And then, of course, there's resale tickets available, and good Lord, good luck. Good luck getting one of those. So anyway, I just want to know what people's thoughts are. What have you paid for book events? But I've done both, right? I've done signings. I've done a con. I've done like a book con. I've done a signing that's a one day. And I've also done a single author signing. I've done all 3 of those. Okay. And The best experience that I had was the one-day signings that I've done. And that was both, I mean, the one in Texas, I love that. I went to Wanderlust in Texas. And then there's also that signing in Iowa that I've went to as well. Now, the one Wanderlust, the base ticket was $35. I paid for the upgrade, which I didn't even end up doing the upgrade because we ended up going out to dinner with friends instead of going to the after party. But with the upgrade, it was only $65. Okay. Which to me, like, that's reasonable because, right, they have to rent the place and do all the things. So I was okay with up to $65. But again, the base ticket was $35. So if you didn't want, like, you pay $35, right? And you're able to see most all the authors in there. Like, that one had Sarah Kate and Sophie Lark and A.L. Jackson and what's the Australian lady? Her name just went on my head, but all of them were there. And that was a $35 base ticket. Of course, I've said this, the one in Iowa that I went to was a big old $5, $7.50 with the fee to buy the ticket, right? And the VIP of that was $25 if you wanted to get in early. Okay. Now I realize those are held at different places, and there's, it's a lot different to rent a ballroom at a hotel than it is a room at a casino, because that was the difference. Like, but then, like, the cost to go to Book Bonanza, which RIP Book Bonanza, astronomical, it feels like. And that's only for the ticket itself, not alone the flights and the hotel. So anyway, I'm just rambling about it, but there's all of those involved, and there was multiple authors I got to see for those. When I went to single author signings, which I've seen both Sarah J. Maas, Marissa Meyer, Christopher Paolini, I've went to those ones. Those were all the cost of the book with maybe a little more of a fee. Okay. I think, no, I think all of those were just the cost of the book, because one was at a Barnes & Noble, one was held at a school, and one was at a bookshop. Also, Jay Kristoff, can't forget that. In Salt Lake City, I saw Jay Kristoff on a random weekend, and it was amazing. That was also the cost of the book. If you bought it from the store, you got it. So I don't understand. But anyway, okay, let me do these. So already pre-ordered Onyx Storm. Me too. Very excited. Melissa, I'll come back to the Outlander question, or that. Vanchika, I'm so sorry. I have horrible American pronunciation of things, but do you mean the Powerless by, like, the fantasy one? There are multiple books named Powerless, so I'm going to need an author thing. I assume you mean the fantasy one, but I don't know. Melissa, I was looking this up, the Charlie Method. I believe the Charlie Method is supposed to be, is it MFM or MMF? I'm looking. I thought it was going to be, let me see. I don't know. Actually don't know. I was so sure it was MMF. But now you got me questioning. Seems like people on Goodreads aren't sure either. Well, I'll be sad if it's an MFM. I won't lie. If it's an MMF, I will be happy. Now, Al Kennedy's obviously written gay romance before, so it's a possibility that will be. The Charlie Method. Yes. I'm sad it's only 3 books. Okay, Crystal answered me about the signing. I think for a single author signing, like an hour chat and their book, and then signing should be the cost of a book, and maybe better. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get that it depends too on the space that they have it in, right? But ones that are at a Barnes and Noble, or they're at a, like I said, the one that was at a school that I went to, one was at a bookshop. And so the bookshop, like, their payment was the fact that people were in their bookshop buying the books from them, right? Like, that's the thing. Um, and yeah, I agree. I agree. Like, I'm willing to pay like a fee if there is, if the space has to be rented, but I don't understand. Now again, the Rebecca Yarros one is at, I think, like an event center, so I get that. But I don't think that it even includes the book from what I saw when I was looking at it. So you're going to have to have bought the book yourself, and then also you're paying like $100+ and that was for like the cheap seats, right? Like this was like it was a freaking concert, and I'm like, okay. So I don't know. Anyway, that's just me whining about it. I understand that. Yeah, Amanda, it was Rebecca Yarros. Her tour, like it's legit, like she's freaking a musician or something. Like the tickets for it were not cheap. Now, again, the one in St. Paul was not being held at any bookstore because she's too big. Whereas I think some of them on her tour were like I mean, I don't know any Barnes and Nobles that have enough room for her in them. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I don't know. But yeah, the tickets for the one in St. Paul, the cheapest one was 130. And then of course there's all the fees on top. It was gonna be like 150 a ticket. And I'm like, no. And I think to just to continue this of like, when I went to both the Sarah J. Maas and the Christopher Paolini ones, you couldn't even like have a picture with them really. They had so many people's books to sign that they basically just said, "Hi, what's your name?" Write it down, and then you are through, right? So if I had had to pay more than the cost of the book, I wouldn't have been happy, is the thing. I wouldn't have been happy if I had to do that. Whereas I only paid for the book, and then, I mean, my friend and I drove down to Iowa together, and total for the room and gas, we paid like $120 that we split, so it was fine. But if I had paid for more and that's all that I got, I'm like, well, I could order a signed copy from somewhere else. You know what I mean? And for Sarah J. Maas, when I saw her, I actually went to see her for Tower of Dawn, is when she came to Minneapolis or St. Paul. And she has, really bad wrist issues. So she actually only signed 50 books there, which I'm not holding that against her at all. She has, like, I want her hands to be okay so she can write me stories. So it's fine. But what they did is she did her chat, and then they literally drew names of the audience members, and only 50 people got to get signed and have a picture with her. Everyone else, you got a book that was already like signed ahead of time. So if I had paid more than the ticket for that, I would have been disappointed, because it's like I drove a long way to get there, and that's all that you get. So anyway, I'm glad that authors are so popular. People want to do that. That makes me happy. But it's also it's not cheap to be a book lover who wants pretty books, okay? Like people think it's like, oh, books, what the big deal? And I'm like, okay, my hobby can cost just as much as anybody else's for sure. Here we go. Let me see. Okay, Powerless by Lauren Roberts. There we go. No, I have not. I heard a lot of mixed things about it. And I just have 1,000,001 fantasy books to read, so I didn't get around to it. But I am not unopen to it. I just don't know when I would get to it, because I got a whole stack of ARCs that are fantasy books that I haven't got to yet. So I have not read that. Melissa, you haven't read any poly ones at all. Yeah. Well, that's fair. I have plenty of friends who don't want to read it. I'm really looking forward to it though, because Elle Kennedy has written both gay romance and poly romance before, but never with her more mainstream books. So I'm glad that she's doing that. Everybody says we want to do the really diverse reads, and they've just only slowly, like, diversity in couple wise hasn't, like, or thruples or things like that hasn't really been out there until, like, Emily Rath and Katie Roberts books got redone that have some of that in it. So I'm excited that this one from Al Kennedy is a straight to traditionally published book, and it's gonna have a poly romance in it because I love her poly romance. So, and Amanda said, "You do think that it's MMF?" Yeah. Well, that's how it sounded because yeah, those two were already kind of sharing things, and by things I mean women. So, and the one guy in book 2, I think he said to Shane in that one where he was like, I think I'm more interested in him than some of the girls that we've shared. So, because that one guy, he wanted to listen in too. He had some voyeurism stuff going on. Yes, Melissa, it's sword crossing is what we'd say. MMF is they also love each other. That's the difference between an MFM and an MMF is if the M's are touching, it's a sword crossing book. So that's how you tell. That's something that can be very misleading if people don't know that and they promote their book as a MMF, and then you're like, no, they're not. These guys don't love each other. Which is fine. Again, it's fine. Just don't mislead me. But I prefer MMF over MFM, as I've said, because if there's going to be more than 2 people in a relationship, I want everyone to be in love. Otherwise, it's just the girl getting extra dick. That's what I say. I'm sorry. I stand by it. I stand by it. That's why I personally don't like the reverse harem version of a Why Choose. And so many paranormal books all have to be that now. And I don't care for it. I don't care for it because I'm like, I don't need her to just be getting extra dick. Okay. I want them all to be in love. Otherwise, what's the point for me? So, yeah, plenty of people love the RH type, and that's great. Obviously, there's not Melissa because I like MMF. I just want everyone to be getting the D. I don't think that just the girl needs to. I love it when it's a truly poly relationship. So that is for me. But a lot of people won't because they don't want to read, they don't want to read that. But I'm not really interested if they're just all obsessed with her, which I know that's a lot of people's fantasy. They want that, but I don't, because then to me, it feels like each guy is only getting half of a relationship if they have to share. I'd rather they be able to all be in love with each other. And that's what I like. So I would still read it from L. Kennedy if it was MFM, but I would most likely be unsatisfied. So then, like who does it really well? Sarah Kate's Salacious Player series, book 3 was a 6-star read for me in 2022. And book 4, 5, 6, Madam was a FFM, which I also loved as well. Yeah, I like those. So anyway, that is something that I often will go deep into. That's just one of my, we're all allowed to have our preferences. We're all allowed to have our preferences. The only RH I've truly enjoyed was Den of Vipers. Other than that, I hadn't really been my thing. Yes, Randy. Oh my goodness. I agree with you so much. Which is so funny because Den of Vipers was the first one I read. It was the first one I ever read. And it was wild. So I then didn't read one for a while because I was like, oh, I don't know. There was so much other stuff going on in that one that the RH nature of it was like the least of my concerns. There was like, I hadn't really read knife play before like that, or torture things. Like I read Den of Vipers so long ago, like the first time it was popular is when I read it. And that was wild. But anywho, let's see. What else? Oh, okay. Let me go back to this question here. Melissa had asked, are you excited for adaptations besides Outlander? Good question. Except my answer is no. I really don't care for them. There's a few fantasy ones I'd be interested in, but nothing is like getting going. Like we keep hearing of these ones getting picked up, right? Like Fourth Wing's picked up, Akatar's been picked up forever and a day. There's talk of some other ones too that have all been picked up and like nothing's happening with them. I mean, even like Aragon's been repicked up now for a series. Like the Inheritance cycle is supposed to be a series. And I think Hollywood is just being very like, no pun intended with this, but Hollywood's being very conservative right now, which projects they like really go with because they've been burned so many times. And in my opinion, I'm like, really make me a good one. I am interested in like what happened with like the Hoop series, right? The Hoop series was gonna get done, and didn't Skyland get picked up too? Like the Kennedy Ryans did. Like, oh my gosh, I would absolutely watch the Hoop series. Totally forgot about those. So those are ones that have been picked up, and then they just haven't got their traction because that happens all the time, is that things get bought up so that they have the options to do it, right? Like I say that about Outlander. Outlander was picked up like 20 years ago, and the rights got passed around and passed around and passed around until 2014. So who knows with what'll happen. So yeah, my answer to like, are there any I'm excited about? Not really. I do at some point, I'll tell you this. At some point, I am going to get passion flicks again and catch up on some of those, which I am interested in seeing. Like The Air He Breathes did look really good. I'm also not too attached to The Air He Breathes. Like, just being honest, I like that book. I'm not overly attached to that one, so I think I could really like it. I also still haven't watched the Amy Dawes one yet. I saw they're doing the, what's her name? J.R. Ward, like the pictures I've been seeing from from them, like those look good. So because I know kind of what to expect out of it, if it's going to be on Passion Flicks, I can get with it. But yeah, I've just been burned too many times because Hollywood often feels like they have to surprise the readers with something like, oh, we don't want to give them what they want. And I'm like, but that's what I'm paying to see. It's for you to give me what I want. I don't want you to change things. But that's just me. So Randy said, I'm really sad about Akatar. I was so excited when I first heard it was picked up, and now there is no news. Yeah. See, and that's kind of the exact example I mean, too. Like, Outlander belonged to people, and even things were getting going, like a movie was written at one point and these things, and it just didn't go through. And it's kind of ironic to me that like Ron Moore, who is the Outlander, the guy who started that, was going to do this and then fell off of it. And they didn't even get to like the casting part. Like that's difficult. So anyway, adaptations are just, I'm a party pooper when it comes to those, because I would just rather read my books. Like I'm okay with it. And the people who want movies out of them that aren't readers, I'm just like, my imagination's always going to be better anyway, right? It's always going to be better for me. But so many of these are getting picked up, and I feel like unless Passion Flicks does, like for real, unless Passion Flicks does it, who they push forward their projects, they're not necessarily the quality that I would want out of it, but at least they push them through. Hollywood takes too damn long to get anything going on. So yeah, once Outlander's over, like next year or when, or maybe it will end by, it's got a little ways yet. We still have, which is back tomorrow. So Outlander's back tomorrow with the second half of season 7, and then there's a whole season left to go. So we'll see. High hopes. Melissa, you said you have high hopes for the off-campus, but you're scared. Yeah, me too. We'll see. Amanda, for a while it seemed that all RH were set in high schools. I know, and you said it's ridiculous. I know. To me, that's not called RH. That's just everybody sleeping around. You're in high school. Are you really committing to someone long-term? That's why I have a problem with new adult romance a lot of times, unless it's in fantasy, because I'm like, how for sure are you going to stay together? It's not that young people don't get married and stay happy. I know that they do. I absolutely know that they do. But if your relationship started with you guys all screwing each other. Like, is it gonna last for a long time? Off-campus series El Kennedy by Amazon Prime. Yes. Yep, they're gonna be doing it. We shall see. The production on these fantasy series would be very expensive, like Game of Thrones, if they're going to do them right. Exactly. Have you seen the Black Brother Black Black Dagger Brotherhood? I can't say that. Yes, that's what I've seen, Katie. That's what I'm talking about. I am intrigued by it because they're actually filming that. It's actually happening. I have the gut feeling it's gonna maybe feel like a Buffy the Vampire Slayers episode, which, hey, I love those deeply. Love Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But is that the vibe that Black Dagger Brotherhood's supposed to have? Not so much. So we'll see. Christina, I love when I see an adaptation and then get to fall in love with the books later. I am always disappointed to love a book and then see the adaptation because it never lives up to what I imagined. Yeah. Yep. That is pretty much the same as me too. I felt that way about like way back with the John Green one with Shailene Woodley, where they have cancer. Sorry. That one I saw the movie first and then I read the books way back in my like emo days. That one was good. Same with like After You, like those are all depressing, but this is true. But Christina, that's why I stand by that. Like why I think I love Outlander so much is because my first introduction was the show. So even when the show annoys me for some choices that it makes, I still like it because it's the reason that I've read the books. So it gets a bit of a pass from me in some aspects. Because I never would have read those books if I hadn't watched it. So I love that. Amanda, yeah, I think BDB will be cheesy. I prefer to imagine the story in my head. Yeah, it's just tough. Because here's the thing, too. All the dramatic things that I love about a paranormal or fantasy romance when it's fated mates, I don't think I can think of an adaptation that actually does that well, right? Like, because we all can think of those cringy moments, which even if we love them, we can admit that they're cringe when you see the person and they're instantly in love, right? Like, think of Twilight. Think of how much the Mickey has been taken out of that over the years because it's so, like, intense, adolescent feelings and, like, ugh. And so that's what I think of, like, BDB is it's like we're going to have this fated mates thing and you're going to see the person and then that's it. I'm ready to do it all. Like, that can work in a book in a way that in a show is just hard to do. It's just hard to do. Cringe doesn't always translate well to real life. Exactly. And I don't just mean cringe, right? I mean, I literally mean cheesy. Or I mean the things that in a book I go like, ooh, like I just love it. About insta-love, because I do like insta-love in books sometimes. I do. I love fated mates. When you see actors play that out, it's tough, right? And those one-liners that in a book are so funny. Like, this is an example of, like, think of, like, right, 50 Shades of Grey, and those one-liners that are so great when Christian says them in the book. I mean, maybe they're not great, but you know what I mean. Those one-liners, when they translate into the show, he says them, and you're like, I'm going to slap you in the face, right? Like, it doesn't work the same because in our heads, we just let it have its way with us. And when we're faced with it, it's kind of like, oh man, what am I doing? So I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But all right. It's almost noon now. Anything else? Any other topics we should touch before I make myself get some work done? This was a great little distraction. I appreciate y'all. Georgia, how about some historicals? I'm going to die if and when they make Sky O'Malley. Oh my goodness. You mean for adaptations with those? Sky O'Malley, that could actually be fun. I mean, I haven't read those. I just know about it. I have it. I just know about it. That could be fun. Didn't they also pick up didn't the Wallflowers get picked up? See, nothing's happened with that in how long? I hate Insta love. I don't get it. Like, I want to know why they love each other besides seeing each other for the first time. Yeah. Randy, there is not even close to a release time for Off Campus. So I don't know, girl. There is no, like, they don't have anyone cast. They don't have any, like, film, like, nothing's close to that. That was sold. This is what I'm saying. So many of these, they're bought by a company. But all that means is that the company gets the first choice to make something out of it, right? They can hold those rights for so many years before they have to go back up to auction, and they can do what they want with it. Like, there's a really great, actually, an episode that Daniel Green did about Wheel of Time and how Wheel of Time got screwed over for so long because the people that owned that made a 15-minute mini episode that aired at 2 a.m. at some time. And because they got that in under the deadline, they then owned it for another how long. And so the author didn't, like, the author's estate couldn't get it back to do. So, like, they can own it for, you know, ages as long as they're paying the author for it, and nothing can happen. That's why, and a lot of authors, they just want, and this isn't a judgment, I'm saying they would just rather have the paycheck of them buying the rights for it than hold on to it and nothing happen with it, right? So that's not me saying anything bad about the author. I'm like, get your coin. Money in your hand is better than speculative money later on, you know, and especially if some of them auction off for a lot of money. Sometimes those rights go for mega bucks. I would take it too, you know, but if you're in the position to negotiate for more control of your rights and how much you want to be included, like, get yourself put on as a writer for the show, get yourself put on as a producer for the show, then you maintain more control, but you're probably not going to get paid as much because they're like, oh, now we're going to have to deal with you, you know? So that's just a bit of what I know in that arena. Lizelle, I'm interested in Elle Kennedy's off-campus show because it's being done by Amazon. Yeah, Amazon's done okay. Harry Potter series is also coming. Yes, I am. I've heard that. I am intrigued. I'm very nervous. I mean, I'm excited about it, but I'm also very nervous because how do you recast some of those people? Like, honest to goodness, how do you recast Dame Maggie Smith? How do you recast Michael Gambon? Like, how do you do that? How do you do that? I don't envy them at all. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to be ready. I'm excited for a really good, like, graphics all the way from the beginning. We play a game whenever we rewatch movies like 1 through 3, and it's called Real Boy, Fake Boy. Because if you watch anytime they're on a broom, you can see how horrible the CGI was back then in 2000 or whatever. You can watch it go from, like, be the stunt double on, like, a rope to it being a CGI, like, Harry being, like, thrown all around. Looking forward to your Outlander breakdown. Yeah. So, funny story too. I put up a poll asking people when they wanted the reviews of Outlander to go up. I did not pay attention that it moved to Friday night. So, like, potentially, I think it might be, I don't know. I'm going to check on the app, but I'm like, is it going to come out at 11 p.m. tonight? Because when it was on Sunday night, or on Sunday nights on Stars, it would come on at midnight on the app on Saturday, right? It would be out at 11 p.m. on Saturday. So I'm like, is it going to be on the app at 11 p.m. tonight? Am I going to watch Outlander tonight? My brain isn't prepared yet. I'm not prepared yet for the emotional devastation that is coming my way. But the poll was still for Sunday nights for it to go up, and I think that will be good because that gives people a couple days to watch it. But yeah, it's on Friday nights now, which I don't think was a bad move, especially since Yellowstone is on in its time slot. So I know they're on different shows, but, like, you don't want to try to split audience with, Yellowstone, which is one of the biggest watch shows ever right now. So anyway, good stuff. This was great. Thank you guys for showing up. I'm always very blessed when I throw this up and people actually come to chat with me in the middle of the day. I appreciate you. I am now going to try to be productive. I'm sure I'll get some stuff done, but also being productive doesn't sound very fun right now. So there's that. But thank you all so much for coming to hang out with me. I appreciate you all. And we'll chat with you later. Bye, friends. Bye-bye.